Okay, first what we have is just a regular calf stretch where the knee's extended, where we're mainly getting the gastroc. I like to put them on a slant board just to give a little bit more of dorsiflexion or bend in the ankle. And then also we can have him go from there and bend the knee, bend that back knee. Good. Where he's going to feel that more down into your Achilles, down into the soleus and Achilles tendon, right? Got that? Yeah. And then we hold each one for 15 seconds. Now we're going to make it a little bit dynamic where we bring it like that and we're going to have you, good. So here we're getting a ringing of the, because every muscle is three-dimensional. So many times we stretch in one dimension, usually forward and backwards, but not side to side or even more importantly in the transverse plane. Again. Doing more dynamic stretching before an exercise or before we go to work out and a static afterwards. Again, we want to bend at the hip. Remember, I bend at the hip, not the back. I don't usually our low back is more than flexible enough, so we want to do it at the hip, because if we don't get the good flexibility at the hip, our body's pretty efficient. It knows where to get it when we get it in the lumbar spine. That's why we have a whole lot of lumbosacral instability. So we're going to be here, chest up, where you feel it here. And then you can even get a little bit back and forth again to get more of that 3D motion in there. But to point that back foot straight ahead, good. Up tall, good. Bend at the hip, not the back, not the spine. Good. Pull the toes towards you. Feel that in here? Good. Up tall, chest up. Think you're taking your belly button to your, and good. Now you can kind of bring that back and forth. Good. If you need that for stability, you can. For balance. You good? Okay. Straight ahead. Okay, now for the hip flexor. This is probably the most neglected muscle in the body. Improperly stretched. It's a lot of times it's the iliopsoas. That's two muscles, the iliacus and the psoas, which comes from the inside of the pelvis, crosses the hip joint and attaches to the lumbar spine, all the way back underneath the guts. And again, it can be responsible for holding us in hip contractures, excess lordotic curve. It can mess up the lower extremity chain for running. And my friend here, he's had some issues with his ankles, but again, we address not just the foot or where it's hurt. We locate the pain, but we look elsewhere for the cause. And we're up here in the butt, the hamstring, and right now the hip flexor. So we're going to stretch the left hip flexor. We're going to put the right foot up, good. And we're going to tighten that left butt cheek, drive that hip forward, good. Until you feel it stretch in the front, yes? Okay, now we got that, it's three-dimensional. That's the first dimension, getting it in the front. We're going to rotate a little bit to the left, body on the leg, good. Stabilize here, good. So you feel that more here, good. Now we're going to put a third dimension in where we're going to reach up and over. So we're going to get that where it goes from crosses the hip joint, comes up and attaches to the lumbar spine, the top four vertebrae of the 5 lumbar vertebrae. Okay, if you have a good stretch, we want to hold that. We can, if we want to, if we're doing something before a game, we can come in like that and get a little bit of a dynamic warm-up where we're getting a little bit of rotation. Again. Okay, going to hold that for at least 15 seconds and come out good. Feel loosened up? Oh yeah. Okay, good deal. Okay, now we're doing what we nickname these steamboats. These are single leg stance where we're challenging the injured leg or the weaker one that needs rehabilitated. Again, this is more of a stability thing. We wouldn't do this real early on, but again, he needs stability in that left ankle when he's coming up for a layup, coming down, changing direction. So right here we're going to have him kick against tubing with his good leg in 4 different directions, working on balance, but also functional strength and stability. So we're going to do some flutter kicks. Good, good. And if he has to grab, that's why we have some place to grab on if he has to. Hopefully he doesn't. Good, we'll do 10 that direction. Good, up tall, good. Work on posture and everything. Again, so this is where, down here, that's when he needs that stability, when he's moving and things. And if you can see that what's going on down there at the ankle, foot and ankle, all those tendons, muscles from all the way from the core down to the toes are working. Good. And we just do 10 kicks each direction. So again, working on forward multi-directional stability. And this is about his third visit. First time he couldn't do more than a couple without losing his balance and putting his foot down. And the goal is, yeah, and we just got 4 direction? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, you can hop out of that. Good deal. We're going to talk about stretching. Before an activity, whether working out or playing basketball or football, I like dynamic stretching versus static stretching. Static stretching, we've done some where you put it in a position and you hold for 15 or more seconds. Here we're going to do a dynamic because we got to prepare the body to do some work. So we're going to do some leg swings, front to back, good. Kind of getting a little bit higher, a little bit further back as you're coming, good. So again, we're working on some balance on the one side, but we're loosening this hip up at the same time. Again, working everything together. We do 10 right, 10 left. Good. And that just kind of, again, getting the blood flowing, getting the body ready, the muscles a little bit warmer. Good. We'll do 10 if you have to hold on. If you have balance issues, you can grab, if you're somewhere where you can grab a bar or something. Now we're going to go straight across the body. Again. Good. It's not really so much for a matter of getting way high, but again, just loosen those hips up, hips, abs, core, all the way from the toes up through the trunk. Good. Kind of starting to lose balance a little bit, but that's okay. You know, we're out here in a non-threatening environment. He's going to be out there on a basketball court in a little bit, and he's going to need all this directional flexibility and stability. Good. And then the next thing we'll do, so we did front to back, side to side. Now we're going to do the other plane, the transverse plane, where we're going to come up and bring it across the body, just rotating the hip. Good. So right now we worked everything all around the hip, all the way down to the toes, again the trunk and the core. Good. Why don't you go ahead and switch legs, do a couple. You look like you're doing a funky chicken or something there, but that's okay. I'm allowed to make fun of my patients. They signed the release. Okay, good. And then we're just going to do some arm swings. What we're doing, we're going to do 10 of them, but kind of switch which arm goes over the top, which one underneath. And don't do them next to somebody with a 12-foot wingspan. Then you break your knuckles. Good. There you go.